Isaac Stenner adjusted the rubber seal of his helmet and took a long, audible slurp from the silver thermos locked into his exosuit's chest mount. The steaming black liquid ran down his throat and hit his stomach like asphalt. He exhaled sharply, eyes fluttering open with a jolt of clarity. The aroma of burnt beans and ground despair filled his helmet. "God bless you, dark roast," Isaac muttered. The alien standing 2 feet away stared, utterly still. Its skin was a dull, opalescent gray, limbs long and slightly curved inward as if always shrugging. It had no visible mouth, only a shimmer where its face should be. Its 3 fingers tapped the data tablet it held. "You just drank that," it said in English through the translator disc hovering above its left shoulder. "Yup," Isaac said, twisting the thermos shut. "Coffee," the alien's fingers paused. "It has a corrosive pH level, toxic to over 70% of known sentient species. It steams. That is not safe." Isaac shrugged. "It's just our regular coffee." The alien's body posture did not change, but the translator gave a low whir as though struggling to process the response. "You consume it willingly?" it asked. "I'd mainline it if I could." The alien didn't reply. Instead, it turned and walked 3 paces to a console embedded in the wall of the observation chamber. The walls were smooth, silver blue, and hummed faintly like a refrigerator left open too long. A large, transparent panel separated them from the corridor outside. Beyond it, a few more of the alien species moved with the fluid grace of creatures who never had to deal with gravity working against bad knees. Isaac was the only human on board the expedition vessel. Officially, he was Earth's observer, a representative invited by the Galactic Concord for a first contact integration program. Unofficially, he was the guy who kept asking where the coffee machine was. He'd been there for 6 days. So far, he'd caused 3 minor containment alerts, 2 diplomatic stumbles, and 1 sanitation incident involving toothpaste foam. But the coffee that had triggered the most intense reaction yet, the alien turned back to him. "Your internal organs tolerate this substance." "Barely," Isaac said. "But that's the point. It keeps us awake, focused. Some of us drink it first thing in the morning, some all day. A few people drink 12 cups a day. Your species voluntarily ingests a material that causes increased cardiac activity, gastric distress, and neurological agitation." "For functionality," Isaac nodded. "Productivity mostly, and taste sort of, maybe more out of habit." The alien tapped its tablet again. "You introduced this coffee into the shared waste system yesterday." "Yeah, I rinsed out my mug in the sink." "That triggered a chemical hazard protocol." "The water system flagged it as an unknown acidic threat." Isaac blinked. "Oh, sorry, didn't think about that." The alien made a note. Then it walked over to a containment drawer and pulled out a small, sealed vial filled with a dark brown liquid. It held it up. "This was extracted from your waste sample. Is this the same?" Isaac peered at it. "That's yesterday's coffee. It looks sadder, but yeah, same stuff." The alien placed it on a tray and pressed a button. The vial lowered into a sealed compartment. A few seconds later, a screen lit up showing molecular data. The alien studied it silently, then the room shook. A low tremor rippled through the floor. Isaac stumbled, grabbing the edge of a nearby bench. The alien didn't move. "What was that?" Isaac asked. "Unclear." "Possibly external impact or internal system fault." A beep echoed from the alien's tablet. "Containment breach, Deck 6. Isn't that where the food labs are?" "Yes." Another tremor hit, this one stronger. The ceiling lights flickered, dimmed, then stabilized. "Okay," Isaac said, pulling himself upright. "Do you guys have a panic room situation? Or do we just stand here and hope it's not a hull breach?" The alien didn't answer. It moved to the intercom panel and pressed a button. A different alien's voice came through. "Section 6 integrity compromised. Unknown chemical reaction destabilized the nutrient matrix. Emergency protocols engaging." Isaac turned. "Wait, did my coffee do that?" The alien stared at him. "Unlikely, but not impossible," he groaned. "Look, I'll stop with the coffee, I swear." Just don't jettison me into space. No one is being ejected, the alien said. Yet. It led him out of the observation chamber and down a long corridor. The walls vibrated faintly. Emergency lights flashed blue every few feet. They arrived at an internal elevator. The alien tapped a code and the platform descended. As they moved, Isaac noticed more of the ship's crew converging toward the central intersection, all moving with urgency but without chaos. What kind of nutrient matrix are we talking about? Isaac asked. The alien hesitated. A synthetic blend designed to simulate sustenance for all species aboard. It adapts on ingestion. Like a food paste, more sophisticated, still sounds gross. The elevator opened onto a hallway lined with vents. A chemical smell hung in the air, bitter, sharp, slightly burnt. Isaac's eyes watered. Yep, he coughed. That's familiar. Smells like burnt coffee. They entered the lab. A large central vat bubbled ominously, smoke curling from its surface. Technicians moved around it with scanners, and one was frantically adjusting a pressure release valve. Isaac stepped forward but was stopped by the alien's arm. Do not approach. The reaction is unstable, a technician called out. The contaminant is hydrophobic but partially soluble. It's resisting breakdown and causing thermal surges. Isaac blinked. Did someone pour my coffee into that vat? The alien tapped its tablet. Your waste was integrated into the general recycling system. It's possible some was routed here. Great. So I poisoned the food supply, not poisoned, altered. The technician shouted, it's adapting. Molecular structure shifting, temperature rising. Isaac backed away. Okay, I don't want to end up as the guy who invented the first sentient coffee sludge. An alarm blared. The main screen showed a rising energy curve. The alien at Isaac's side moved quickly, issuing commands in its native language. Vents opened overhead. The room dropped 10 degrees instantly. The bubbling slowed. The smoke thinned. A technician raised a hand. Stabilizing, temperature plateau achieved. The alien exhaled. Crisis contained. Isaac rubbed his temples. That's the third time this week something I did caused a protocol alert. You have a pattern, the alien said flatly. It's not intentional, we just have weird habits. Your survival mechanisms are counterintuitive. Thanks, the alien turned. Your coffee is now classified as a controlled substance on this vessel. Isaac sighed. Fair. As they left the lab, another alien approached, holding a small container. We found this in the waste filter, he said. Is it related? Isaac looked. That's a coffee pod, a single serving. The alien turned it over. There is foil and residue. Yeah, that's how we store it, clean, efficient. The first alien took the pod. We must study this further. Be my guest. Later that day, Isaac sat alone in the human quarters, sipping water and staring at his empty thermos. The door chimed. The alien entered, holding a small tray. We synthesized a safe analog of your beverage, it said. Isaac raised an eyebrow. You made coffee, a non-toxic version adjusted for ship systems. He took the cup, sniffed. It smelled like roasted barley and sadness. He took a sip and gagged. That's not coffee. It lacks the harmful compounds. Which were the tasty parts? The alien tilted its head. You are an unusual species. Isaac leaned back. You have no idea. The next morning, or whatever passed for morning aboard the ship, lights had dimmed 4 hours ago and cycled up 30 minutes back. Isaac lay flat on a diagnostic table with his shirt off, and a set of translucent circular patches stuck to his chest, ribs, and neck. Each one pulsed faintly with green light. A thin, flexible arm descended from the ceiling and hovered over his abdomen, scanning him with a low, rhythmic chirp. Still no ulcers, he said to no one in particular. You say that as though you expected some, replied a voice from the far side of the medbay. Isaac craned his neck. The same alien from yesterday, the one who'd confiscated his coffee and nearly put it on a weapons register, stood beside a bank of monitors, tentacles, or maybe they were elongated fingers working a console embedded in the wall. I mean, I have lived off vending machine sandwiches and caffeine for most of my adult life, Isaac said. I figured by now my stomach lining would be more of a suggestion than a structure. That is both alarming and biologically fascinating. Welcome to the human condition. The alien made no sound of amusement, but one of the wall displays flashed briefly with a pattern Isaac had come to associate with curiosity. Your biomarkers indicate elevated cortisol, low melatonin, and irregular dopamine spikes across the last 2 cycles. Are you under emotional duress? Probably just withdrawal, Isaac said. You took away my one consistent pleasure. The alien stepped closer, studying the patch on Isaac's sternum. Your cardiovascular system is stable. However, your neural activity during rest periods shows increased fragmentation. Do you experience nightmares? Only when I dream about checking my email. The alien paused, then tapped a note. Sleep disruption is a known side effect of sudden stimulant deprivation. You should have reported this. I figured it was normal. You don't really notice how broken your sleep is until someone graphs it on a wall. The alien gestured, and one of the patches detached from Isaac's skin, floating up into a small containment prism. We can provide a neurochemical stabilizer to assist with regulation, non-addictive, minimal interference. No offense, Isaac said, sitting up carefully, but I'd rather not become the first human to OD on alien melatonin. It does not induce unconsciousness. It facilitates the natural cycle via limbic modulation. That's what they said about energy drinks in the early 2000s. Next thing you know, someone's heart is doing the cha-cha in a parking lot. The alien observed him quietly. You appear resistant to assistance. I just prefer to adapt the old-fashioned way, crawl through the mud and build a tolerance. That may explain much of your species' history. Isaac reached for his shirt, wincing slightly as he twisted. Speaking of adaptation, I need to find a replacement for coffee. Something to keep me sharp without melting the ship's filtration system. You will not find such a substance aboard. Then I'll have to improvise. The alien didn't respond, but its gaze followed him as he slid off the diagnostic table and stretched. Also, Isaac added, I think I should be involved in the containment debrief about that nutrient vat incident. That is not standard protocol. Neither is accidentally triggering a thermochemical surge with recycled sludge from my thermos. I feel like I owe someone an explanation or an apology. Possibly both. Right, Isaac said, pulling his sleeves down. Lead the way. They passed through a corridor where the lighting adjusted subtly with their movement, tracking biosignatures. Several more of the alien species passed them, each giving Isaac a look he had trouble reading somewhere between curiosity and cautious wariness, like they were trying to decide if he was a guest or an unstable element. In the containment review chamber, a wide table displayed a 3-dimensional reconstruction of the nutrient vat event. The simulation played on loop, showing the moment the sludge boiled over and the emergency systems doused the room with a temperature drop. 3 other aliens were already present. Isaac recognized one from the engineering team, taller than most, with additional sensory ridges along the sides of its head. He cleared his throat. Before anyone starts, I just want to point out I didn't pour anything directly into a vat. I rinsed a cup. That's it. The engineer tilted its head, then said, the problem was not the quantity, it was the complexity. The molecular structure of your beverage contains compounds that behave unpredictably when interfaced with our adaptive biofluid system. So you're saying my drink mutated your food paste. That is an oversimplification, the alien who'd run his diagnostics said. But functionally accurate. Isaac leaned on the table. Can I see the compound breakdown? A new projection appeared, several chemical strands twisting in animated loops. Isaac's eyes narrowed. That's a lot of methyl groups, he muttered. You recognize the structure? I didn't major in chemistry, but I did live with a guy who brewed his own espresso with a pressure cooker. I saw a lot of molecular diagrams taped to our fridge. The engineer gestured toward the looping helix. This segment here, your species seems particularly tolerant of it. We are not. So what you're saying is I brought in an unstable element, fed it into your food processor by accident, and the whole thing threw a tantrum, correct? And now we're here, also correct. Isaac rubbed his jaw. Any permanent damage? No. The system isolated and purged the affected volume. However, it raised concerns about future interactions. Look, Isaac said, I'll keep my leftovers sealed. No more rinsing anything. I'll even use those awful compressed wipes you gave me. That would be acceptable. Isaac hesitated. But I also think you should consider studying the compound further, not because it's dangerous, but because it's resilient. It survived your breakdown protocols, adapted under heat, and bonded with your nutrient base in less than 1 standard minute. That's not just a hazard, that's potential. The 3 aliens looked at one another. Silent patterns flickered across their facial surfaces. You are suggesting we weaponize it? No, I'm saying maybe you can learn something from it, like how a seemingly unstable substance can persist in unpredictable environments. Kinda like us. The engineer tapped the table. The idea merits exploratory analysis. That's all I ask. Later that cycle, Isaac returned to the habitation wing. His quarters, while functional, had the charm of a dentist's waiting room. He dropped onto the bunk, stared at the ceiling, and sighed. 30 seconds passed before his door buzzed. He opened it to find the same alien standing there, holding a small, sealed container. This is for you. Isaac took it. Inside, a soft gel with a faint amber sheen. What is it? A stimulant compound, synthesized from local flora aboard our hydroponic deck. Mildly energizing. Biocompatible with your physiology. I appreciate the gesture, Isaac said, opening it. But I'm warning you now, if it tastes like seaweed and regret, I'm going to be cranky. It has been flavored with a non-toxic analog of cinnamon. He dipped a finger in, tasted it, and blinked. That's actually not bad. Consume in moderation, the alien said. We will monitor your reaction. Isaac nodded. Deal. The alien turned to leave, then paused. Your species refers to its cultural resilience as grit. I believe I understand the term now. Grit, Isaac said, is what gets stuck in your teeth when you've bitten off more than you should have, but you keep chewing anyway. An apt metaphor. The door slid closed behind him. Isaac lay back, staring at the ceiling again. He could feel a subtle buzz, already less of a jolt, more like the hum of concentration returning. He grinned. Well, that's something, he muttered. Not coffee. But something. Isaac sat cross-legged on the floor of the hydroponics observation deck, hands cupped around a warm ceramic bowl filled with the amber gel the aliens had offered him. He'd been told to consume it slowly, but he was already on his 3rd spoonful. It tasted faintly of cinnamon and something like roasted squash, with a texture somewhere between honey and pudding. Not coffee, but he could live with it. The deck was quiet except for the low hum of circulating air. Rows of translucent leaves and pale stalks glowed faintly under violet biolamps, stretching in symmetrical patterns toward the ceiling. A trio of aliens moved among the plants, their slender forms gliding between nutrient trays with practiced efficiency. One of them approached, carrying a small, round device. You have returned, it said, placing the device on the floor beside him. We assumed your interest in this area was minimal. Turns out I've been underestimating the local produce, Isaac said, lifting the bowl slightly. This stuff's not half bad. The alien crouched beside him, folding its limbs neatly. We adjusted the formula. The initial sample lacked sufficient human-compatible fats. You appeared undernourished. I'm fine, Isaac said. Just got used to a diet that hates me back. That is a contradiction. That's humanity. The alien tapped the round device. A soft projection rose into the air, showing Isaac's metabolic data from the last 48 hours: heart rate trends, neural activity, and blood sugar fluctuations. The graph had begun to level out. Your homeostasis has improved, the alien said. You are adapting. I told you, Isaac said, taking another spoonful. Just needed something to bridge the gap. You metabolize faster than projected. That rate of adjustment is typically observed in species with high environmental variation. We evolved on a planet that tries to kill you 12 different ways depending on the season. Adapt or die is kind of baked into the operating system. The alien was quiet for a moment. Then, we have observed your behavioral pattern. You do not wait for permission to alter your environment. Waiting around doesn't usually get results, Isaac said. We try things. Sometimes it goes badly. Sometimes we invent flight or penicillin. Or deep-fried butter. That last example is concerning. Yeah, it should be. The alien stood and gestured for him to follow. Come, there is something you should see. Isaac rose, setting the empty bowl on a nearby ledge. They walked through the narrow corridor that branched off the hydroponics sector, lights shifting from violet to a muted teal. The air grew cooler. They entered a chamber that resembled a small greenhouse. Inside, several alien researchers were gathered around a central column lined with transparent pods. Inside each pod, a slightly different version of the amber gel was suspended. This is our applied biomimicry lab, the alien explained. We have begun developing nutrient profiles based on your sample. You're making human-style food now, not food, resilience vectors. Isaac raised an eyebrow. Come again. The compounds we extracted from your coffee along with your metabolic response showed an unusual ability to resist destabilization. We are attempting to replicate that quality in our emergency rations. You're building disaster-proof space pudding. That is one interpretation. Isaac studied the glowing pods. You're serious about this. Your presence has forced us to reassess several assumptions. Our systems are optimized for biological predictability. Your physiology defies that. I've been told I'm hard to predict. Your species is not merely unpredictable, you are improbable. Isaac chuckled. That's flattering, I think. Another alien approached, holding a slender container. We synthesized a new variant with increased thermal resistance. Would you be willing to test it? Isaac took the container and sniffed the contents. It smelled faintly like roasted barley and something floral he couldn't place. He took a cautious sip. Hotter, he said, but smoother. Less tangy. We adjusted the tannin profile. He took another sip. This might actually replace coffee. The aliens exchanged a series of brief tonal pulses, some kind of low-frequency acknowledgement. Isaac leaned against the nearest console. So, let me get this straight. I drink something most of you consider toxic, accidentally destabilize your food system, and your response is to study it and make it better? We do not discard anomalies. We learn from them. Back home, that's called failing upward. The alien beside him tilted its head. We call it progress. A brief chime sounded from the wall panel. The alien walked over and tapped it. A visual of the containment chamber appeared empty now, but with new safety protocols overlaid in glowing lines. Containment procedures have been revised, the alien said. Your compound is no longer classified as hazardous. It is now under the category adaptive stimulant. Isaac blinked. You promoted my coffee. It has been recontextualized, he laughed. I'm putting that on a T-shirt when I get home. The alien walked back toward him. You have altered more than our storage protocols. Several crew members have reported increased curiosity about Earth systems. They are requesting access to your cultural archives. Just don't start with our politics. Nobody deserves that. We began with your culinary history. Isaac winced. That's a roller coaster. We found the concept of fermentation particularly disturbing. You and me both. The alien gestured toward the door. There is one final matter. Come. They walked through a curved hallway until they reached a room Isaac hadn't seen before. Inside, a long table stood surrounded by several members of the ship's senior science staff. On the table, a flat device displayed a projection of Earth rotating slowly, with a data scroll running underneath. We have assembled a preliminary profile, the lead alien said. Your species' survival traits are not merely biological, they are cultural, psychological, and behavioral. We wish to include this in our database as part of your integration record. Isaac leaned closer. You're writing a user manual for humans, a survival guide. For cohabitation, he scratched his jaw, you might want to add a chapter on sarcasm. It is already 10 pages. Isaac's eyes widened. Well, that's fair. The lead alien tapped the table again. A new image appeared. A stylized flowchart showing human adaptability across environmental extremes: desert, ocean, space, war zones, boardrooms. We underestimated your flexibility, the alien said. We assumed your physiology would limit your contribution. We were incorrect. Isaac folded his arms. We've been punching above our weight class since we figured out how to sharpen rocks. We now understand. The alien stepped back. You are cleared for full system access, and your beverage is permitted within controlled parameters. Isaac blinked. Wait, you're letting me have coffee again, in moderation, with containment protocols, he grinned. You have no idea how much this means to me, the alien paused. We do, actually. Isaac stepped out of the chamber 30 minutes later holding a fresh thermos. A tag had been affixed to it, bioactive handle with care. He laughed quietly to himself and took a sip, warm, bitter. Alive, he walked back through the corridor toward his quarters, greeting the crew as he passed. This time, they didn't look at him like he was a malfunction waiting to happen. They nodded. One even raised a 3-fingered hand in something approximating a wave. Inside his room, he placed the thermos on the shelf and sat down, letting the silence settle. No alarms, no protocols, no scans or containment warnings, just a man, a mug, and a new understanding. He took another sip, and for the first time since arriving, it tasted exactly like home.